Hello, hello, and welcome to another segment of our featured author series for the Our Words Matter Black Author Book Expo, the second annual. Tonight we have featured author Crystal Lou Wood. Crystal Lou Wood is a nurse practitioner, she's an artist, she's a mental health advocate, and she is proud to be a part of the second annual Our Words Matter Black Author Expo. And her debut book is coming. It's going to be called Resting Unapologetically. But I'll let her explain that a little bit more to you all. So without further ado, help me welcome in Crystal Lou. Thank you all.
Hello, Miss
Hello.
Deborah. Hello,
Hello.
everybody. Thank you
Hello.
so much, Miss Deborah, for inviting me in.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. I'm just honored that you decided to be a participant here. So tell the people a little bit about yourself other than what I just said.
Oh my, okay. That doesn't ever really seem to get easier, does it? Um,
No.
so, I'll just say, let me start this way. I'm a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. I have been in the field of psychiatry for 15 years.
Okay.
I have a calling to women and children and to ministry leaders. And I have been in the field of nursing since 2009. I love it. I'm the first person in my family to ever go to college, and I had to work really hard to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And Before I lose anybody, I'll just say
Mm-hmm.
this, that I grew up in a really abusive home.
Mm-hmm.
And at the age of 12, I went into foster care. And then I went around to a lot of different foster homes in the state of Vermont. And
Mm-hmm.
then at 16, I was adopted. At
Okay.
17, that family divorced and kicked me out on my own.
Oh my goodness.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's been a journey. It feels like my entire life I've been seeking and striving to do well, to perform well, to be able to
Mm-hmm.
receive the validation that I now know I can only get from God. I've
Amen.
known Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior for many years. I have one
Mhm.
son.
Okay.
But if you purchase the book, if you read the book, you'll get more detail and insight into why it is that this book kind of came to be.
Okay.
And Miss Deborah, I don't want to hijack the interview,
You're
so
fine.
just I am an artist. I love to paint. God has
Mm-hmm.
recently allowed me to start painting more in the prophetic realm,
Okay.
which has really been challenging for me because I like to have my things
Right.
in a row, and God's like, no, because faith doesn't always work like that, does it?
Exactly.
I sing on a
Exactly.
worship team. Yeah, just
Okay.
whatever questions you have for me, I don't want
Okay.
to, I'll just follow your lead.
All right, that's fine. And that was one a beautiful introduction as well, about the different things that you do and that God shines through you, the gifts that He's given you, and you use them for His glory. So, I love that for you. I love that. So, you mentioned the book. So, what inspired you to write your book, Resting Unapologetically, and how does it reflect your personal journey?
Whew, whew.
Loaded question.
That is a loaded question. But honestly, I think any of us that have had encounters with God can really say that they
Mhm.
are loaded. But I want to be very clear that my book is written from the perspective of somebody who has had encounters with God that has changed my
Mhm.
life. But it is also for those who don't yet know God.
Mhm.
And the reason I say that is because growing up, I did not know God.
Right.
And
Okay.
it was hard to find God in the things that ooh, in the things that I had endured and been
Yeah.
able to survive. And I always say that all my life, God has allowed me to sit on grace and hang on to hope.
Yeah.
And that's really key for me because there were a lot of things that tried to take me out.
Right.
And I don't want to give it all away, right? But I
Right.
will tell
Right.
you, this book, Resting Unapologetically, it's a collection of like notes, studies,
Okay.
experiences from a lifetime of 40 years of not resting.
Oh wow. Okay.
And, I'm about to be 41. I don't look like what I've been
No, you
through,
don't.
and that's
That's a
only by the
blessing.
grace of God. And
Amen.
what God allowed me to do was to see that many people whether they
Mm-hmm.
were single moms like I am,
Yeah.
whether they were the first person to graduate college in their family, whether they were
Yeah.
oppressed for any kind of reason whatsoever. I grew up in that.
Yeah.
And that there were a lot of people who then kind of lived from this, like that their value comes from the things that they do and how
Mm-hmm.
much they do and enough. And
Yeah.
so when I've spent like the last oh God, the last year at least, asking. I don't know if you guys do this, but I pick a
Mhm.
word every year and I pray over it. And
Okay.
this year my word was capacity.
Okay. Okay.
Whew. Let me
Yes.
just tell you, if you ask God to teach you about capacity, you will likely find yourself um stretched,
Yes.
right?
He will
And there
show
we
you your
go.
capacity, right?
Yes, and so I myself stretched and even producing, like writing out this book, and with the
Mm-hmm.
level of transparency that God has required of me to be able to write it,
Yes.
um, it has definitely stretched me in a lot of ways. And my hope is that when other people look at this book, when they read this book, no
Mm-hmm.
matter where they are coming from in their life, they will then be find themselves like challenged enough to be able to face the changes that need to be made
Yes.
so that they can live with the freedom that was meant for all of us to have.
Mhm. Okay, I could definitely. Your book is almost like a vessel for people to once they see inside, they can see the things that you've overcome, and then they can see that there is hope. Like you said, there's
Yes,
grace
ma'am.
and there is hope, and they can see that from reading your story. So I can definitely relate to that. So, how has your experience of being a nurse practitioner shaped your insights and your advice, in about sharing that you share in your book?
Oh my. Here we go again. But
Right.
I will say this that in the book, you're going to read how I happened into
Hmm.
psychiatry.
Okay. Okay.
Because don't worry, I'm going to give you a little bit more than that today, Miss Deborah.
Okay.
um, but
Yay.
in the book, you're going to read about how that really came to be. But
Hmm.
the being in the field and working in the field,
Hmm.
um, it allows me to, I feel overcome even
It's
now,
okay.
because it
Mhm.
allows me ooh, to really meet people where they are.
Yes.
There is not a person in this world that I cannot talk to.
Yes.
And it is because of the abundance of things that God has carried me through. And with
Hmm.
that being said, there are so many people, Miss Deborah, who don't
Yes.
know that their value doesn't come from how much they do,
Right.
that they don't know that resting can be productive for them.
Yes.
And as a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, I have
Hmm.
the opportunity to kind of help people by challenging their traumatic experiences and
Hmm.
how those have kind of thrown them out of alignment for what it is that they're supposed to do, or what it is that God has called them to do, or what it is that gives them fulfillment and purpose in their lives. Because we all know when we try to do all of these things, the
Yes.
things that are for us, we know that they're for us, okay?
Right.
But we
Hmm.
also know that that it's not something that you work for. Like the
Right.
price has already been paid, right?
Yes.
And so what
Amen.
I know is that I can then intersect neuroscience. I can teach people
Hmm.
about their brains. I can teach people the keys to unlock those things that are keeping those doors locked.
Right.
And I can do it from a place of like compassion and empathy because
Hmm.
I'm sharing my vulnerabilities in this book. And by doing so,
Hmm.
mm, it allows me and it allows the reader to feel disarmed so that they too can maybe be vulnerable when they need to.
Yes. And people need that. Because even for me, with writing memoirs myself and poetry, so I write from my heart, things that I'm going through, how I'm feeling. People need that. They need to know that they're not the only ones going through something. They're not alone. So your book is going to change some lives. I can already see that. It's definitely going to change some lives, help people to see that there is grace for them on the other side, that they can rest. and that it's okay to rest. So,
Right. And
yeah.
when we rest, there's a blessing in the resting.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That almost sounded like I planned that, but I did not.
It was the
Just so
Lord. It was the Lord.
right. There's a blessing in the resting. And what we know is that I've included in there some tools, some
Hmm.
applicable tools that people can use.
Okay.
Right. And
Right.
so there's reflection questions, but then there's also like some actual tools. And
Okay.
so it will be the first of many resources that I feel like I can give.
Right.
And as a person who has lived the experience and
Yeah.
learned the experience, I
Yeah.
feel like it's a good opportunity.
Okay. Yes. Yes. I feel like it's going to be a wonderful opportunity for those that need your story. So tell us a little bit about your creative process and your writing process. Even though I know you wrote about your life experience, how long have had it been taking you to write your story? Yes. I know you said it was a 40-year story, so but
Right. And here's the thing. It I had to really rest in the fact that everybody's not going to read this story
right, right,
and everybody's not going to understand
right.
and everybody may not believe it.
That's true too.
Which is tough, you
Yeah.
know, because as somebody who has experienced a lot of trauma in my life, trauma has a way of taking away your voice and
Mm-hmm.
invalidating your experiences. So, of course, naturally, I glean to that. And a lot of what
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting in, I'm just pulling in pieces that I have written over the years.
Okay.
And what I have found is that writing is the more graceful avenue to give it to
Mm-hmm.
people. Because when I have shared some of my story, if it wasn't in the right room or with the right delivery,
Mm-hmm.
then the message got lost because the people were like,
Right. Like,
you
wow,
know,
what? Yeah, I get
yes.
it.
And
I
so
get.
it gives people space and freedom to like
Mm-hmm.
rest with it themselves.
Right.
In
Okay.
writing, this has been resting unapologetically literally
Mm-hmm.
was birthed from the place of being exhausted and
Mm-hmm.
just not being able to just keep on keeping on.
Right.
And honestly, I don't want to just keep on keeping on, Miss Deborah.
Exactly. We gotta stop. We gotta pull off the mask. We gotta stop running. All of that. We gotta just sit down and just face it, face the truth, and just write it out as part of the healing process. And it's something
Yeah.
that we can't avoid.
No, and
Many
so
people
much of
try
it.
to avoid it, but
Right.
we
I
can't
was
avoid
looking.
it.
I was looking to see if I had any of the journals here, but they're all over there
Hmm.
on that closet where I
Oh
showed you.
yeah.
But there are so many journals that have just so much of
Hmm.
this that I've put in. Then that's why it's written that
Hmm.
it's a collection of notes and
Okay.
studies and just
Right.
writing. Sometimes it's just free pouring for me, and other
Okay.
times the
Right.
writing process is like I'm gonna just like hit this, and that. And then sure
Hmm.
enough, when I sit down to do this, and I get to that, it's just like it
Right.
just it just
Like
pours
it's
out, you
there,
know?
right. I understand because you're writing from your heart, so that's how it happens. And just no
Yeah.
script or anything. It just comes out how it
No.
is. So I can definitely understand that.
Yeah.
I can definitely understand that. So, what advice would you give to people who feel guilty again about taking time for themselves?
Oh my. Mm, mm,
Mm-hmm.
mm. I would I would listen with my heart when they
Yeah.
told me they couldn't. And
Mm-hmm.
I would tell them that it's okay to
Mm-hmm.
challenge the lies that have been fed to you all these years.
Yes.
And um, I would encourage them to challenge their why with regard
Mm-hmm.
to why they can't take time to themselves. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people, it's a thought of it's selfish to do so, but that's
Mm-hmm.
not true.
Yeah.
If I did not give myself, for instance, a few minutes before I had to get on this call today, you
Mm-hmm.
might would have gotten the Crystal Lou, the Dr. Lou that's at work.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's not what this book is about. That's not what people need,
Right.
right? And so
Mm-hmm.
it creates, it allows for us to be more authentic in our show up,
Right. Okay.
right? And
Right.
so I would
Mm-hmm.
encourage them to start with something simple.
Okay.
Ready? It's
Right.
it's not bringing your phone into the bathroom.
Ooh, You speak it to me. You
Right?
speak it to me. You speak it to
Right.
me.
That's one simple
Yes.
way. That's what I would say. But the first thing I would say is I would ask them to, from a place of curiosity and not judgment, I would ask
Mm-hmm.
them why.
Right. You're right. You hit it dead on the nail. And sometimes I try to remind myself, okay, Deborah, just throw the phone on the bed. You don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need to take it in there when you go into the shower. You leave it. You're not gonna miss anything. It's okay. Somebody tried to reach you, they can try again or whatever. So that's something that we all have to teach ourselves, really. So I
Right.
can
Or life
definitely
teaches
relate
us.
that. Yes, life will teach you through many ways, health and all kinds of things. I know this is your interview, but life will teach us in so many ways
Yeah.
that take time to rest because if you don't, you may not be here too much longer.
In
We're
real
gonna, we're
talk,
gonna
Miss
go to
Deborah,
him. Mm-hmm.
real talk, that was never the intention.
Right, right. It wasn't. It
For
wasn't.
those of us who love Jesus, we know that Jesus died on the cross so that we could live and have life more abundantly.
Yes,
A
he
lot of
did.
us are just living. We're not having the life more abundantly, and that was never the call for us,
No, it wasn't. It doesn't. We're all chasing
right?
the bag or chasing people or chasing whatever.
Yeah.
And we should be after God's own heart.
Yeah.
That's who we should be chasing if we're gonna chase anything. We should be
Yeah.
chasing Him and not each other, not man, not the money, the bag, or any of that stuff. Because at the end of the day, none of that stuff matters.
I'm
That stuff is
hoping that
yes,
sharing my story will cause people will cause them to consider and identify themselves somewhere in it.
yes,
Whenever I meet people, I'm always asking God to allow me to see some of myself in them,
yes.
whether they look like me or they don't, whether they sound like me or they don't, whether
Right.
they are a child or they're an elder, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter.
Something.
Help
Right.
me, God, to see something because we all have something. And what
Right.
I have found is that for a lot of us, our permissions are set wrong, Miss Deborah.
Yes. They are.
And I hope that reading this, that we
Mm-hmm.
can set our permissions appropriately.
Yes, I can wholeheartedly agree with you on that. I
Yeah.
definitely agree with you on that. Oh my goodness. Whew, this interview. I've been watching your tears, trying to make sure none come out myself. Oh, but I won't like I said, I'm not gonna hold you too long. And I think the viewers that are watching this. And so, Miss Crystal, can you tell us what it means to you to be a part of the second annual Our Words Matter Black Author Expo?
Oh my, that's such a big question too, Miss Deborah. Um, whew, I I am not usually this emotional. I just need y'all to know this. But I will tell you that
It's okay.
it feels very humbling
Hmm.
and very I feel very grateful and I feel very I don't even know that honored is the right word. I
Right.
just feel like I've been given opportunity for access and support and love
Hmm.
and community that I
Yeah.
have been longing to find.
Yeah.
And all of my life, my voice has been very hard to, it's felt like there's been constant attack after attack after attack.
Hmm.
And I think that's why this is so emotional for me
Yeah.
because um, the second annual Our Words Matter Black Authors Expo speaks to a level of oppression that
Hmm.
most people don't understand. And
Yeah.
while I can't say I understand what it feels like to be a Black author, right,
Right.
whose words
Okay.
are, being under oppression and threatened, I can say
Right.
what it feels like from my point of view to be able to finally be able to share my words in a
Hmm.
community that I really think it has great potential to impact, a
Yeah.
community where people are just thriving, a
Yeah.
community where people are receptive and it's really built from a place of love. And
Yeah.
I always prayed that when I shared my story one day, that it would be birthed out in a place that is cultivating love. And I really feel like that's what the Black Authors Expo, the second annual Our Words
Yeah.
Matter Expo means. And it's
Yeah.
from a place of love because when you honor somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you are loving them. You are standing in a place of love rather than from a place of love.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am deeply humbled that I even get to have this opportunity. And I am most grateful that God allowed it to come out in a protected environment.
Yes, yes. And again, like I said, I want to say that I appreciate you even wanting to be a part of it because it was never my intention to exclude everyone else, but it was just at the time our African American words were being silenced in the school systems. And
Mm,
as a mother and a grandmother, and as you know, as a black woman, that just didn't sit right with me. And I prayed about it, and the Lord laid this expo on my heart year before last to plan it. And I went from there, and it's growing because of Him. So I know that I'm doing what He wants me to do, and here we have, and here you are, and you're meant to be here. So, Miss Crystal, I want to say again, thank you so much for your kind words. Thank you so much for even wanting to be a part of this expo. And I look forward to you being a part of the future expos here with the Our Words Matter family. You're a part of the Our Words Matter family now.
thank
That's a,
you.
yes, you are. And I just again thank you so much. So if you have any final words, and I'll give you the floor, and then we'll close out the interview.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for all of that. I receive all of that goodness
Mm,
and I thank you just for your patience and your grace and for your love.
yeah.
My final words for now would be that you don't need permission to rest,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Nobody needs permission to rest. There is nothing guilty about it. There is nothing punitive about it. There is nothing any way whatsoever. And my prayer is that everyone who encounters this story, my story, and the things in it, will find themselves giving themselves permission to rest unapologetically. Resting is productive. And I know that we are in a world that cultivates progression and progress. And I am hoping that when people read my story, chains will break free, that curiosity will be birthed instead of judgment, that people will find themselves resting and settling into who and how they were originally meant to be.
I pray that your message has been received well for all those out here that view this video and that come out and meet you at the All Words Matter Black Author Expo here in Aiken, South Carolina. And it's going to be held at 334 Church Street Northwest in Aiken, South Carolina at Almond Branch Baptist Church. So you all again, thank you so much for tuning in with us, and you all have a wonderful, blessed day.